Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be reading The Crane Girl. Let's take a look at the cover. See a bird. See a girl sitting here. She's wearing something, I believe it's called a kimono. Maybe this book takes place in another country. Has anyone ever done a favor for you before? In certain cultures, it's not just kind to return the favor, it's actually an obligation. What is an obligation? It means when you have to do something. It's not like, do I want to do it? You're obliged to do it. You have to do it. We're going to read a book today called The Crane Girl, which is adapted by Curtis Manley and illustrated by Lin Wang. There's something interesting before we start the book. I want to show it to you. Do you see that? It says Guide to Pronunciation and Haiku. And I know a haiku is a type of poem. It says these are the characters' names, how the names are pronounced, and how the haiku showing each character's thoughts is printed. So the boy is pronounced Yasuhiro. The girl is Hiroko, and the boy's father is Ryota. So we have Yasuhiro, Hiroko, and Ryota. If I get those wrong, don't hold it against me. I'm going to try my best. From the darkness, an animal's sudden cry, its fear and mine. I wonder if this is the haiku. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure. There's another one down here. It says, cold, hard trapped, he sets me free with warm hands. Wait a minute. I wonder if these words down here are what the crane is saying, because it says cold, hard trap, and it looks like the crane is in a trap. He sets me free with warm hands, talking about this boy. From the darkness, an animal's sudden cry, its fear and mine. Wait a minute, maybe this is the boy's thoughts. Let's read and find out. Yasuhiro dropped his armload of firewood to follow the sound across the sharp buckwheat stubble of the landlord's field. He almost stepped on the crane, nearly invisible where it lay in the snow. A trap held 1 foot, but the crane looked unharmed. As Yasuhiro knelt, the bird closed its eyes and shuddered. Yasuhiro clicked his tongue to calm the bird. I'm not here to hurt you. When the bird stood up, it was as tall as Yasuhiro. He stroked the soft feathers on its long neck with his fingertips, and the bird gently pressed the red top of its head against Yasuhiro's face. The crane's head against my cheek, how warm it was. The crane suddenly turned away, began running, and took flight over the wintry hills. Yasuhiro watched until the bird was a pale speck against the dark sky. Then he picked up the firewood his father had sent him for and hurried home. So again, we see those words down here. It says, the crane's head against my cheek, how warm it was. How is he feeling here about the bird? Think about that. You want to stop and pause the book and write down how Yasuhiro is feeling right here. Please go ahead and do so. The next night, someone knocked on the door. Yasuhiro opened it and found a girl standing there, pale and shivering, tears frozen on her cheeks. Please, she said, bowing, I have no home and nothing to eat. May I stay here with you? I will help with chores. I won't be any trouble. Yasuhiro led her to the warmth of the hearth. Father will decide whether you can stay. Yasuhiro's father, Ryota, got up and bowed. We are not rich like others in town, but you are welcome here as long as you work hard. If you are lazy or steal from me, you cannot stay. Do you agree to that? Yes, sir, the girl said, and bowed again. Thank you. You may call me Hiroko. Yasuhiro and Hiroko became friends. They shared their chores and spent their time together. Springtime rain, I teach her games. Everyone else knows. There are those words again, right? In a different color. Springtime rain, I teach her games. Everyone else knows. Sounds like this is him speaking. Every time I see it in that color. Or maybe just his thoughts. Each morning, Ryota walked to town looking for work unloading boats or carrying heavy baskets. He returned in the evening, usually with a fish or noodles. But when he couldn't find work, he came home with only his sadness, crying the name of Yasuhiro's mother. Mother died when I was young, Yasuhiro whispered to Hiroko one of those nights. Father says she wove the finest kimono silk on the whole island. We still have her loom and thread, but father had to sell all the fabric she made, except my scarf. Oh, Yasu, it's so beautiful, Hiroko said as she stroked the soft fabric. His mother's love, threads of all colors, glowing in the weave. There were those red words again. They were green on the last page, and on this page they're red. And her kimono is red. Maybe these are her thoughts, right? Because in the beginning of the book, it did say something in regards to the pronunciation and the haiku. It says these are the characters' names, how they're pronounced, and how the haiku showing each character's thoughts is printed. So I guess I'm right. These are the thoughts that are on each page. The next night, someone knocked on the door. Yasuhiro opened it and found a girl standing there, pale and shivering. Oh, I'm so sorry. I went back too far. The next day, Hiroko bowed to Ryota. If it would please you, Ryota-san, I will weave silk for you. It will bring a good price in the market. I have but one request. Neither you nor Yasuhiro must open the door or look at me while I am weaving, no matter how long I might take. Do you agree to that? Yasuhiro and Ryota nodded and said yes. Then I will weave for you. She took the bowl of rice and bean sprouts that Yasuhiro offered and closed the door. There she goes. She's going to go weave silk. But she's telling them not to open the door. Look here's blue writing. And I think this is called the haiku that they were talking about. It says, my wife's loom, pounding of my own heart behind that door. It must be his thoughts, right? The loom sounded all that night and the next day. Only after dinner did it fall silent. When Hiroko finally opened the door, she was carrying a bolt of cloth as light as a summer breeze. White silk speckled with black, tracks of winter birds. Now this is green. Must be Yasuhiro's thoughts, right? A merchant bought the silk for as much gold as Ryota could earn in 5 months. Wow. So he brought it to market to sell it, and he earned a lot of money. Heavy sack of coins. Why should I beg for work? Uh-oh. Why should I beg for work when she does the work, I make as much as I would in 5 months? Now Ryota often slept late. Uh-oh. He's sleeping late. He's not going to find work anymore. By the time he walked to the village, there was no work left. Instead, he sat with the merchants in the warm sun, eating and drinking all afternoon. The gold was gone in just 3 months. So again, Hiroko closed the door to weave, taking with her a bowl of tofu and ginger that Yasuhiro had prepared for her. This time the girl spent 2 full days with the loom. The fabric was even finer than before. Weightless silk, her trembling hands, and tired eyes. A merchant paid so much that Ryota stopped even trying to look for work. He went to town only to sit by the docks with the merchants and boast of the fine silk he would weave for them. Cup by cup, his father swallows all the money. These are her thoughts down there, and these are Yasuhiro's, I believe, up here. She's working so hard, and the father is... Stop and think about that. How is the father becoming? It sounds to me maybe like he's becoming lazy. What do you think? Maybe stop and maybe talk to something in the room or someone that's there, or maybe even write it down in your notebook. How is the father now becoming? In a few months, all the gold was spent again. More cloth, demanded Ryota. Hiroko looked down at the floor. I'm still too weak, sir. Next month I will weave more. You will do it now, insisted Ryota. And before Yasuhiro could stop him, Ryota pushed the girl into the room and slid the door shut. Yasuhiro looked at the door and remembered his promise to Hiroko never to open it. Knock of her loom, I put down the chopsticks and stare at my rice. A day passed, and then another. The loom's rhythm seemed slower with each passing hour. Ryota paced back and forth. Finally, the loom fell quiet. Are you done with the cloth? Ryota asked, and slid the door open. He cried out and fell back onto the floor. Yasuhiro rushed toward his father, but stopped and stared. Through the open door, he saw a long, thin neck and feathers flecked with blood, and then a great wing slammed the door shut. My goodness. That's maybe why she didn't want them to open the door. So I want you to stop and think, right? In the beginning, we talked about the act of kindness, right? Where are we starting to see what we talked about in regards to returning a favor, right? If we are nice to someone and we do a favor for someone, in this culture, right, what are they supposed to do, right? They're obliged to return that favor. They have to. And it makes me think of how he took her leg out of that trap, and then she returned to help him. I wonder if that's where we're going with this story. Ryota ran past Yasuhiro and stumbled outside into the darkness. Even the moon gone, all my good luck lost again. When Hiroko finally came out, her face was pale. Her eyes were red from crying. Yasu, here is the silk for your father. Once he sells it, he need not bear any burden for many months. I'm sorry about father, Yasuhiro said, gazing down at the fabric. Hiroko pressed her head against him. The last time I will touch his cheek. Cold tears. Yasuhiro thought of what he'd seen through the open door and touched Hiroko's neck. Why did you pluck your own feathers for the cloth? You saved my life when I was caught in the trap, said the girl. You were so gentle and kind, I wanted to be with you. Hiroko's feathers, her love for me, threaded through the silk. Hiroko pulled away from him. But I can stay here no longer, she hurried outside, and within 3 steps changed back into a crane and flew away. Everything lost. How could he ever love a crane? Yasuhiro ran and ran, calling after her and sobbing. When she was just a dark speck in the dawn sky, he could run no more. He must have fallen asleep, for suddenly Hiroko was bending over him. Yasu, go home. You will freeze here in the snow. I won't go back, said Yasuhiro. Take me with you. Hiroko shook her head. Our life is too different. It is a hard life. You wouldn't like it. I will like it because I'll be with you. Then follow me, she began running, and flap your wings hard. But I don't have... But he did. He did have wings. Matching her wing beats, my heart soars. Together they flew low over the hills and along the river to the marshes at the edge of the sea. Her people clapped their beaks in welcome and danced for them. Yasuhiro and Hiroko stayed together all the rest of their long lives and raised many crane children, one by one by one. Spring sun, our chick's feathers, wet from the egg. How lucky we all are to be cranes. And that's the end. I'd like you to think about what is the message for us in this story. And this story is actually called a folk tale. What do you think the message the author was trying to get across was in this folk tale? You're going to have a Google form today. We've gone over how to answer open-endeds. I want you to work really hard today on your open-ended. You're going to do great. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I did.